the gaping hole in the universe through which anyone may enter into heaven. Those who have left their small-mindedness behind to seek in tranquility and solitude the God that is the divine poet of mystery and compassion, the great architect of the many unbounded realities, these are they who yearn intently to know. The eye does not see, yet the mind can grasp what is viewed. That which is the essential of all things is known only through a cognitive maze and an evolutionary wonder. The precondition for all human action is our thought process. Thinking makes it so. What we think about has consequences for ourselves and for those who share this fragile time upon the stage of life. In the murky backwaters of our store consciousness lies the key of our deepest connectedness to all creatures, an evolutionary treasure locked within us through our DNA. Be like the young chick breaking forth from its shell, its whole world up until that great moment of release. Open your eyes. Our biological birth is only a step that leads to the unfolding of our being. Enlightenment is best expressed not as a personal meeting with God or a conversion of your physical presence into another state of being, but more along the lines of removing the accumulation of conditioning that burdens us, confuses us, and then to experience the utter freedom of this letting go, the shedding of our shell enclosure. We are born, we are awakened. We live in a world inhabited by sleepwalkers, and the social conventions are programmed to keep us dreaming. Be a refuge unto yourselves. Let your own light shine forth. It is through your own effort that you will be awakened. There are no saviors. No one can purify and cleanse the soul of another. You are the result of your actions, and only you can make amends for such deeds. This is the most important of teachings. It is not life that causes us sorrow, but rather our perceptions, limited viewpoints, and conditioning that we impose upon the present events of life. We interpret through the mask and blur of our limited self. It is this that causes our sorrows. Suffering because life presents as it is and does is foolish. Learn to accept first, and then you can better deal with the events and realities of life. Live without judging. Meditate until the thinking process becomes identified and broken into individualized frames. Then see the connectedness of those frames. We can remake ourselves. That which becomes us is formed and molded by our own thoughts. If we behave with ignorance and with selfish desires, we will inevitably experience sorrow and suffering. All that we are begins with our personal thoughts. That is what is meant by cultivating right understanding. Seek first to understand. It has been said that any suffering that can be understood can be cured. This is because if we can find the cause of the suffering, we can then find an end to the cause. Everything depends upon your mind. If you meditate with focus and concentrated energy, lead a well-disciplined life with positive habits and work ethic, you will form yourself into an island paradise, impervious to sorrow and pain. Cultivate the will to make changes in your behavior, and this will change your entire life. Seek not to serve yourself first, and learn to swim against the mainstream current of our social setting. Our body is a wrapper, a membrane that contains the ego and is corruptible. Our identity is only a mind print, an electrochemical exchange of synaptic energy. Active consciousness and store consciousness recognize them and learn from them both. Learn the inevitable truth. You are inseparable from all of creation, all that ever was, that is, and what will yet be. And you must accept that this empowers each of us to serve all of life, in turn, each creature, all the manifestations called life. In this flux of life, we choose the context in which we are born, not so much through conscious effort, but through the collective influence of our prior actions and attachments. The key is mindfulness, ever vigilant, watchful, and with abiding patience. Your focused attention will be your strength. Do not be filled with anger or hate, but convert this energy into love and compassion. Learn to use the emotional energies and turn them into love and compassion. This will always result in greater happiness. Love is the highest force of energy. Be vigilant and ever mindful. Only with constant focus may we overcome the lesser tendencies that lead to selfish desire and attachment. Come to where the mind has no habits, then you will know your native state. You might feel as if you've been given the task of emptying the ocean with a teaspoon, but such is the way of perseverance and dedication. In the end, your virtue will be your saving grace. It is said that for the many the monkey mind thrashes about. Those who learn to direct their thoughts find health, happiness, and peace. Controlling your thoughts, your mind, is more rewarding than all that your family and worldly connections can provide. Be wise. Live with love in your heart and harmony in your soul. Do not dwell on what others do or do not do. Be a refuge unto yourself. Control what you do or choose not to do. That is how you will manifest meaning and purpose for yourself. In a world of constant change, where everything is as a flowing stream and in flux, that is where you must choose to act intensely, with verve and purpose. The goal of life is not only to find meaning and purpose, but to live fully awake. Wake up. Be victorious over yourself. If you can find the truth in the scriptures and sutras, that is good. Now find it in your own heart. The modern media is not your friend, but rather a pablum to pacify your weary thoughts. Choose what you feed your mind wisely. A healthy diet will keep you awake. Sometimes the direction we need to choose is not the common way, but rather upstream, against the current. See through the patterns and conventions of our human conditioning. Root out hurtful habit patterns. These behaviors cost us heavily in pain, sorrow, and misfortune. Remember that choice pathways commit us to an endless sea of trouble. Avoid succumbing to evil thinking. Do not abide in the ego. Seek harmony. Live with a compassionate heart. Learn to love fully and completely all creatures, all beings. A well-trained mind needs no prodding from the world. It knows, of its own, how to do that which is the good. The wise learn how to cultivate and to shape their mind. Through vigilance and mindfulness, they stay on the path of awakening. Be clear on this point. Do not follow the way of this world. Do not get caught up in trivialities. Ask yourself this question: how have you used this life for your spiritual growth? It is the luck of winning the great lottery to be born as a human being. It is harder still to find and to follow the right path in this life. And the most difficult of all is to find the gateway to heaven. Here is the law and the teaching. Avoid that which is evil. Cultivate that which is good. Always strive to purify your mind. This is the simple truth by which to live. If you truly desire to know what is the most difficult to understand and can resist the temptations this life offers and presents in abundance, then you may cross over and enjoy the pathway to freedom. It has been said that sorrow cannot befall those who do not strive to possess another or to gain control over things. This is great wisdom and should encourage us to strive instead to produce actions that are noble and good, not to speak ill of others or ourselves, and not to use our body for harmful acts. Truth and spirit are not upheld or promoted through harm and suffering. No one is noble if he or she harms a living creature. Those that can be called noble harm no one. As it has been said, be vigilant over your thoughts, words, and actions. This will keep you on the path of wise and noble living. Ultimately, it is our power of choice and volition that determines our outcomes in relation to that which is infinite. The open pathway to heaven, then, is through our conscious and mindful actions. Using our human understanding and will to promote good, and always to seek to harm no living creature. That is the noble and truthful path.